We can now go across to our correspondent, Fraser Jackson, standing by in Washington. Fraser, Donald Trump is president. He's not campaigning to be president. So, given that, why did he have to go and stage this rally to mark 100 days?
Yeah, if you were watching that, it very was reminiscent of the campaign-style speeches that he gave while he was running for office. But of course, he has now been there for the best part of 3 and a bit months. So Donald Trump trying to regale in all of his achievements over the course of that last 100 days. He reveled in the all but unchecked power that he's used over those last 3 months, using multiple false statements along the way. Trump touting his achievements on immigration, the economy, and more. Trump at one point said that he'd reduced immigration by 99.999%, and that just 3 people had crossed the border. It should be said that it's unclear what he means by that. The latest figures we have for the border do indeed show a record low number of crossings, but that was around 11,000 crossings, not 3. So historic lows, but also at historic lows are his approval ratings. We got some approval ratings in on Monday, which show that around 40% of people approve of what he's doing, some as low as 37%. Donald Trump, of course, lashing out at those, calling them fake, and said that Democrats were disproportionately polled. One of the main areas that he's not doing so well in, despite the fact that it's one of his key achievements, is immigration, mainly because of the fact that the US government is handling the deportation programs that have seen various people sent to high-security prisons in El Salvador and other locations without due process. Even some American citizens have been caught up in those deportations, including a 4-year-old child who has stage 4 cancer, who was deported along with his undocumented mother back to Honduras before his case could reach a court. But Donald Trump also railed against Democrats, calling some of them unorganized and lunatics. He railed against the idea that he could be impeached once again. He said, "We're taking back our country from a sick political class that got rich selling it out and bleeding America dry." Of course, one of the biggest impacts that he's had has been on the federal government, the slashing of the federal government due to DOJ. He spoke about that as well, saying after a lifetime of unelected bureaucrats stealing your paychecks, attacking your values, and trampling your freedoms, we are stopping their gravy train, ending their power trip, and telling thousands of corrupt, incompetent, and unnecessary deep state bureaucrats, "You're fired." So definitely much more campaign-style language that he was using, but of course language that we've also been used to hearing Donald Trump use, despite the fact that he has been in office now for another 3 months in the second term.
Fraser, you've been in Washington long enough to know what it's like not to have Donald Trump in the White House. I'm just curious, on a personal level, what it's been like for you operating inside the White House. We know that his predecessor, Joe Biden, didn't really speak much to the media. You weren't given too much access, but now you have a lot of access with Donald Trump. But of course, his administration is also favoring non-traditional media.
Yeah, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, really, because Caroline Leavitt likes to say that this is the most transparent administration in history. And if you look at the sheer amount of FaceTime that we have with the president, that's certainly probably true. I mean, just on a personal level, I went into the Oval Office about 2 or 3 times with Joe Biden over the course of the year or so that I covered him, and I've been in about 9 times already in the space of 3 months that we have been covering Donald Trump. So he speaks to the media for much more extended periods than Joe Biden. At any time when he's signing those executive orders, a record number that he's signed, he will speak to the media for about 45 minutes to an hour, whether that's in the Oval Office, in the cabinet meetings, which we've also now been opened up to the press. So there's definitely more access to the president in terms of that. Joe Biden would speak only for a few minutes every couple of days. But of course, the way that the media is organized to cover the White House itself has changed drastically. Before, it was organized by a non-profit group of journalists called the White House Correspondents Association, because that organization believes that the people who run the government should not choose who covers them, and that has now been changed. The White House has now seized control of the White House press pool, which covers the president in a rotation, and also seized a hold of the foreign pool, which I'm a member of, which allows us access into those more intimate spaces of the White House. Of course, they've also rallied against AP, the Associated Press, and because of a legal ruling that said that their access had to be reinstalled and they had to be treated the same as all of the other news wires, so the same as AFP and Reuters, what the White House did was instead reduce the access that Reuters and AFP have as well, so that now they're all on an equal footing. So there is more chance to get access, more time rather, with the president, but the chances to get those access are fewer and further between than they were in the previous administration.